Moscow's Shadow King. Preview. Who dares to slay a king and his queen in their own empire? October 1994, Moscow, a city where neon lights mask blood-soaked secrets. A woman lies dead on a frozen lot in Vorontsova Dorgo, 3 bullets carved into her heart, her gold rings, untouched, glinting like a cruel taunt. They call her the beautiful stranger, but her murder isn't a crime, it's a declaration. What truth was so dangerous it demanded her silence? Hours later, Vedenskoye Cemetery yields a second corpse. Leonid Zavadsky, Lenchik, the untouchable lord of Moscow's underworld, gunned down with surgical precision. Who could topple a titan and vanish into the night's embrace? The trail twists to Sergey Mamsurov, Mansur, a prodigy turned predator, once Zavadsky's trusted disciple. In the 1990s lawless Moscow, where casinos hum with greed and alleys echo with gunfire, their empire ruled through sex, rackets, and unrelenting fear. But loyalty in this city is a lie, and ambition a loaded gun. What sparked Mansur's chilling betrayal? Whispers point to a Petrovka Street apartment, a fortress of horrors hiding dismembered remains, tortured hostages, and a madman's paranoia. As detectives tighten the noose, Mansur, wired on drugs and delusion, vows a final, bloody stand. Will his secrets die in a hail of bullets or tear Moscow apart? This isn't just a crime. It's a descent into the heart of darkness, where every step unearths new terrors. From glittering gambling dens to corpse-strewn basements, the beautiful stranger's death unravels a conspiracy that threatens to consume a city. Can the police outwit a killer who plays by no rules? Join us to uncover the double murder that shattered an empire and left Moscow's shadows whispering. Will you dare to follow this story to its bone-chilling end? Moscow's Shadow King. Chapter 1. The Beautiful Stranger. What kind of killer leaves gold on a corpse? Dawn creeps over Moscow, October 1994, casting a ghostly pallor across the Vorontsova Dorgo district's desolate fringes. The city is still waking, its pulse sluggish under a sky heavy with frost. A jogger, her breath clouding in the crisp air, cuts through a barren lot flanked by private garages, her sneakers crunching on gravel. She freezes, heart lurching. A woman's body lies sprawled before her, an elegant figure in a tailored navy coat, pressed wool suit, and gold rings glinting like beacons. 3 bullet holes, stark and deliberate, pierce her chest, the wounds clean against her pale skin. No signs of a struggle, no missing jewelry, no violation. The scene is unnervingly pristine, as if staged for discovery. Who was she, and what secret demanded this cold execution? Detectives arrive within the hour, their boots grinding frost into the dirt, faces etched with the weariness of a city unraveling. The woman's sophistication jars against the gritty lot, a puzzle missing its first piece. Her leather purse, untouched, yields only mundane treasures: a tube of crimson lipstick, a few crumpled rubles, a tortoiseshell comb. Robbery is off the table. Forensic experts hunched over the body deliver a stark verdict. No sexual assault, just those 3 shots, fired close enough to smell the cordite's acrid bite. Was this a professional hit or a deeply personal vendetta? The press swarms, cameras flashing, christening her the beautiful stranger, a name that spreads like wildfire through Moscow's smoky precincts and tabloid racks. Why does her serene face haunt even the hardest cops? Moscow in the 1990s is a city on its knees, a lawless frontier forged in the ashes of perestroika's collapse. Privatization has unleashed a tidal wave of greed, and organized crime thrives in the ruins of a faltering state. Lead investigator Viktor Petrov, a grizzled veteran with a chain smoker's rasp, surveys the scene, his gut twisting. This isn't a random killing. Every detail screams calculation, but what motive spares valuables and takes a life? Petrov orders a canvas of the lot, but the barren ground yields nothing. No footprints, no casings, no witnesses. The garages, rusted and silent, offer no clues. Is the killer a ghost or a master of erasure? The team's frustration mounts as the morning drags on, the city's pulse thudding in their ears like a distant drum. Petrov, pacing the lot, knows Moscow's underworld better than most. The 1990s have turned the city into a chessboard for kingpins, where power is won with bullets and fear. Could this be a move in a larger game? He recalls whispers of turf wars, of rival gangs circling like vultures. But the beautiful stranger's elegance suggests a different world, one of opulent casinos and shadowed deals, not street-level brawls. Was she a player or a pawn? A rookie detective combing the perimeter finds a single anomaly, a cigarette butt half buried in the dirt, its brand foreign, Western, expensive. Is it a careless slip or a deliberate taunt? Petrov bags it, his mind racing. What kind of killer smokes imported cigarettes? A breakthrough comes at noon from a seedy bar a block away. A bartender, wiping down sticky tables, overhears detectives and mutters a lead. The woman was no stranger. She was a fixture at Moscow's ritziest haunts, opulent restaurants, glittering casinos, always clinging to the arm of Leonid Zavadsky, known as Lenchik, a name that sends shivers through cops and crooks alike. Did her death crack open a kingpin's empire? Zavadsky is no petty thug. Born in 1947 in Brest, he cut his teeth in Moscow's criminal underbelly, racking up convictions before rising to power. By 1993, he controlled the city's sex trade, with hundreds of prostitutes funneling tribute through a web of pimps and enforcers. His ties to Yaponchik, Vyacheslav Ivankov, a mafia legend, gave him near-mythic status. Could his lover's murder be a strike at his throne? Petrov's team storms the city's upscale venues, their badges flashing in the neon glow of Moscow's nightlife. At the Golden Ace Casino, a waiter, nervous under Petrov's glare, recalls the woman on October 6th, radiant in a silk blouse, laughing with Zavadsky at a high-stakes blackjack table. But her smile was tight, her eyes darting to the shadows as if sensing a predator. Was she afraid of someone watching? The waiter mentions a man at Zavadsky's side, sharp-featured, broad-faced, with a meaty nose and cropped hair. His presence heavy, his gaze unreadable. Could he hold the key to her death? Petrov presses for more, but the waiter clams up, fear flickering in his eyes. What does he know that he's not saying? The investigation takes a darker turn as Petrov digs into Zavadsky's world. Lenchik's empire is a labyrinth of sex, money, and power, built on fear and enforced by violence. Was the beautiful stranger a willing partner or a prisoner of his domain? Her death suggests a crack in Zavadsky's armor, a vulnerability his enemies could exploit. But who would dare challenge him? Petrov's team combs through Zavadsky's known associates, their files painting a rogues gallery of enforcers, pimps, and gamblers. Is the killer among them, or an outsider with a grudge? The cigarette butt gnaws at Petrov, its Western brand a clue that doesn't fit Moscow's gritty underworld. Is it a red herring or a breadcrumb to the truth? As dusk blankets Moscow, a radio crackles with urgent news, shattering the precinct's hum. Another body, another crime scene, another question. Is Zavadsky's reign already crumbling? Petrov stubs out his cigarette, his pulse quickening. The beautiful stranger's death was the opening move in a deadly game, and the board is shifting. What horror awaits the detectives next? Moscow's Shadow King. Chapter 2. The King's Fall. How do you kill a man who owns the night? The afternoon sun hangs low over Moscow, October 7th, 1994, its light barely piercing the gray haze cloaking Vedenskoye Cemetery. A groundskeeper, sweeping leaves from weathered headstones, freezes at a grim sight. A man's body slumps against a granite cross, blood pooling in the dirt like a dark halo. He's middle-aged, impeccably dressed in a tailored charcoal overcoat, his sturdy frame suggesting a life of command. Multiple bullet wounds, precise, merciless, scar his chest, each a testament to a killer's intent. Who was he, and why was death his only mourner? Detectives swarm the scene, their faces hardening as they recognize the victim. Leonid Zavadsky, known as Lenchik, the Shadow King of Moscow's underworld. What enemy could fell such a titan? Lead investigator Viktor Petrov, his cigarette glowing in the chill, feels the weight of the moment. Zavadsky wasn't just a criminal, he was a legend, a former convict whose name sent shivers through precincts and back rooms alike. How does a man like that end up dead in a graveyard? Forensic experts deliver a chilling bombshell. The bullets match those found in the beautiful stranger, down to the caliber and rifling marks. Both murders, just hours apart on October 6th or 7th, share the same cold precision. Is this a coordinated hit or the spark of a gangland war? Zavadsky's empire was a fortress of fear and cunning. Born in 1947 in Brest, he clawed his way through Moscow's criminal underbelly, racking up convictions before seizing power. By 1993, he ruled the city's sex trade, with hundreds of prostitutes funneling tribute through a web of pimps and enforcers. His ties to Yaponchik, Vyacheslav Ivankov, a mafia icon, gave him near-mythic status, yet he rejected the thief-in-law crown, preferring to wield power from the shadows. Did his ambition paint a target on his back? Petrov, pacing the cemetery, knows Zavadsky's death will ignite chaos. Rival gangs circling, allies scrambling. But who struck first? The investigation pivots to Zavadsky's final hours, leading Petrov's team to the Golden Ace Casino, a neon-lit palace where Moscow's elite rubs shoulders with its predators. On October 6th, Zavadsky was celebrating a massive blackjack win, the beautiful stranger radiant at his side, their laughter cutting through the clink of champagne glasses. A small entourage flanked them, but they left to continue the party elsewhere and vanished into the city's neon haze. What happened in those missing hours? A casino worker, nervously twisting a rag under Petrov's stare, offers a hush tip. Zavadsky wasn't alone. A man with sharp Asian features, broad-faced, meaty nose, cropped hair, shadowed him, his presence heavy as stone. Was this the killer, hiding in plain sight? Petrov presses the worker, whose eyes dart to the door. What's he afraid of? The description matches a name from the precinct's files. Sergey Mamsurov, alias Mansur, Zavadsky's right hand. Is he the heir or the executioner? Mamsurov's profile is a paradox. A former Moscow State University student, he was groomed for diplomacy, excelling in English and judo, a poet with a scholar's mind. How did a prodigy descend into this abyss? Petrov digs deeper, uncovering a partnership forged in Perestroika's chaos. Mamsurov and Zavadsky ran Cosmos, a front for computer scams that netted millions. When did loyalty turn to betrayal? The team unearths a troubling clue. Mamsurov was arrested for extortion a month prior, freed on a hefty bond. Did Zavadsky suspect a double cross? Rumors swirled that Mamsurov had police ties, a whisper that could have sparked paranoia in Lenchik's ruthless mind. Could a single doubt ignite a double murder? Petrov's gut churns. This isn't a simple hit. The cigarette butt from the beautiful stranger's crime scene, a Western brand, gnaws at him. Does it tie to Mamsurov or someone else entirely? The team combs Zavadsky's haunts, from smoky bars to high roller dens, chasing witnesses. A dealer at the Golden Ace recalls Mamsurov's cold stare, his hand never far from his coat pocket. Was he armed that night? Moscow's underworld is a labyrinth, and Zavadsky's death has cracked it open. Who else knew his movements? Petrov's team uncovers Zavadsky's network, enforcers, bookies, even cops on his payroll. Could an insider have sold him out? The beautiful stranger's death looms large. Her connection to Zavadsky suggests she wasn't random. Was she a witness, a lover, or a liability? Petrov orders a deeper dive into her identity, but records are scarce. Her life a cipher. Why is she so hard to trace? As night falls, the precinct buzzes with tension. Petrov stubs out his cigarette, staring at Zavadsky's file. The king is dead, but the game is far from over. Is Mamsurov a lone wolf or part of a larger conspiracy? The cemetery's silence offers no answers, but Moscow's pulse quickens, its shadows alive with whispers. What will the next dawn reveal? Moscow's Shadow King. Chapter 3. The Protege's Shadow. What turns a scholar into a slaughterer? In a dimly lit Moscow precinct, the air thick with cigarette smoke and stale coffee, detectives huddle over files worn thin by restless fingers. It's October 8th, 1994. And the double murder of the beautiful stranger and Leonid Zavadsky has set the city's underworld ablaze. Lead investigator Viktor Petrov, his eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights, fixates on a name: Sergey Mamsurov, alias Mansur, Zavadsky's right hand and prime suspect. Once a golden boy at Moscow State University, Mamsurov was destined for embassies, fluent in English, a judo champion with a poet's soul. How did he trade lecture halls for bloodshed? The precinct's fluorescent hum feels like a pulse as Petrov sifts through Mamsurov's file. Born to a military father and a Kostovo mother, Mamsurov grew up in Moscow's rare stability, spared the nomadic life of garrison families. He thrived in a school with advanced English, joined the Komsomol, and enrolled in MSU's economics faculty in the late 1980s. What lured him from this path? Perestroika's upheaval turned Moscow into a crucible of opportunity and vice, where ambition could forge empires or graves. Was it greed or a darker hunger? Petrov, nursing a chipped mug, senses Mamsurov's fall wasn't accidental. It was a choice, deliberate and cold. When did his heart turn to stone? Mamsurov's descent began at MSU, where he met Zavadsky and Olympic boxer Oleg Karatayev, men whose charisma masked their ruthlessness. What drew a poet to predators? By 1994, Mamsurov was no student, his scholar's robes traded for a predator's mask. He and Zavadsky ran Cosmos, a front for illicit profits, with Mamsurov's brainchild, a scheme reselling outdated European computers, netting millions in a tech-starved market. Did success sow the seeds of envy? Petrov uncovers a key detail. Mamsurov pitched a security agency, a legal veneer for armed rackets, and Zavadsky funded it, cementing Mansur's rise. But in Moscow, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. Witnesses from the Golden Ace Casino, where Zavadsky was last seen on October 6th, place Mamsurov at his side, his presence constant, his gaze unreadable. Was he plotting murder even then? A dealer, trembling under Petrov's glare, recalls Mamsurov's hand lingering near his coat pocket as if gripping something heavy. Was he armed that night? Petrov's team digs deeper, chasing Mamsurov's movements before the murders. A chilling clue emerges. Mamsurov was arrested for extortion a month prior, freed on a hefty bond. Did Zavadsky suspect a double cross? Rumors swirled that Mansur had police ties, a whisper that could have sparked paranoia in Lenchik's ruthless mind. Could a single doubt ignite a double killing? Petrov, pacing the precinct, feels the case's weight. Mamsurov wasn't just Zavad chasing this lead. Petrov's team storms Moscow's underworld, from smoky bars to high-roller dens, seeking anyone who knew Mamsurov's mind. A former MSU classmate, now a nervous banker, recalls Mamsurov's charisma, his ability to charm and intimidate. Was he always a wolf in scholar's clothing? The classmate hints at Mamsurov's obsession with power, his disdain for those who settled for less. Did he see Zavadsky as a mentor or a stepping stone? Petrov's gut churns. This betrayal feels personal, a student surpassing his master. What pushed him to cross that line? A new lead shifts the investigation's focus. Mamsurov was spotted near Petrovka Street, linked to apartment 36, owned by an enigmatic Tatiana Lyubimova. What's he hiding there? Petrov orders surveillance, his team staking out the nondescript building, their nerves fraying as hours tick by. The apartment is a black hole, its silence mocking their efforts. Is Mamsurov still in Moscow, or has he slipped away? An informant, a low-level pimp from Zavadsky's network, offers a tip. Mamsurov was seen entering the apartment with a woman, possibly a hostage. Is she alive or another ghost? Petrov's team uncovers Lyubimova's records, but she's a cipher. No address, no history. Is she a front or a player in this deadly game? The cigarette butt from the beautiful stranger's crime scene, a Western brand, gnaws at Petrov. Does it tie to Mamsurov's cosmopolitan tastes or someone else entirely? The team revisits Zavadsky's network, their files painting a rogues gallery of enforcers and gamblers. Could an insider have betrayed Lenchik? The beautiful stranger's identity remains elusive, her life a shadow tied to Zavadsky's world. Was she a lover, a witness, or a liability? Petrov orders a deeper dive into her connections, but Moscow's bureaucracy stalls them, records lost in the 1990s chaos. Why is she so hard to trace? As midnight cloaks Moscow, the precinct's hum grows fevered. Petrov stubs out a cigarette, staring at Mamsurov's photo, a young man with sharp eyes, now a specter haunting the city. Is he a lone wolf or part of a larger conspiracy? The 1990s have birthed monsters, and Mamsurov is their prodigy. What darkness drives him? The Petrovka lead feels like a lifeline, but also a trap. Is the apartment a hideout or a house of horrors? Moscow's shadows pulse with secrets, and Petrov's team braces for the next move. What will they find when the door opens? Moscow's Shadow King, Chapter 4, The House of Horrors. What monsters lurk behind a locked door? April 1995, Petrovka Street, Moscow, a city where shadows hide secrets darker than night. Under a sodium-lit sky, detectives crouch in unmarked cars, their eyes locked on apartment 36, a nondescript flat in a crumbling Soviet-era building. For days, they've tracked Sergey Mamsurov, Mansur, slipping through a basement exit like a specter, his broad face and meaty nose unmistakable. What's he running from? The apartment, registered to an enigmatic Tatiana Lyubimova, is a void in Moscow's underworld, and Mansur is its dark heart. Is this the lair of Zavadsky's killer? Lead investigator Viktor Petrov, his face lined with exhaustion, feels the case's weight crushing him. The double murder of Leonid Zavadsky and the beautiful stranger 6 months prior has left Moscow's police on edge, and Mamsurov is the key. But what horrors does he hide? Surveillance has been grueling, endless hours of stale coffee and false leads. But Petrov's team has staked out the apartment relentlessly, their nerves fraying. Is Mansur still inside, or has he vanished into the city's chaos? A grainy photo from a stakeout camera shows him entering at dusk, his eyes wild, his coat bulging oddly. Is he armed or carrying something worse? A sudden break shatters the monotony. On April 6th, a man stumbles from the building, bloodied, his wrists raw from restraints, his face etched with terror. Chasing him is Alexander Maslov, Mamsurov's bodyguard, his eyes blazing with rage. Operatives tackle Maslov, pinning him to the pavement, and the victim's trembling words freeze their blood. Apartment 36 is a slaughterhouse. How many have died in that flat? Maslov, cuffed and snarling, spills a nightmare under Petrov's relentless questioning. Hostages, including women, are trapped inside, and bodies have vanished, their fate sealed in that cursed apartment. Who were they and why? Petrov's team raids a nearby dumpster, guided by Maslov's confession. Inside a garbage bag, they find charred, fragmented bones, human remains, likely belonging to Galina, an architect hired to renovate the apartment. Did she see something she shouldn't have? Maslov's account is chilling. Galina was shot point blank, her body dismembered, burned in the apartment's fireplace, and discarded like refuse. What drove Mansur to such cruelty? Petrov, staring at the bones, feels a chill deeper than Moscow's winter. The apartment isn't just a hideout, it's a tomb. How many others met this fate? Surveillance intensifies, with operatives watching the basement exit around the clock. They catch glimpses of Mamsurov, his once sharp features gaunt, his movements erratic. Is he unraveling or still in control? A female hostage is spotted at a window, her face pale, her hands trembling as she presses them against the glass. Is she a victim or part of his plan? Petrov's team uncovers more. Mamsurov's drug use, confirmed by informants, has spiraled, his paranoia turning allies into enemies. Did his addiction fuel the murders? The apartment's owner, Tatiana Lyubimova, remains a ghost. No address, no history, possibly a front for Mansur's operations. Who is she protecting? Negotiations falter. Mamsurov's voice, slurred and defiant, crackles over a phone line. I'll take them all with me. Is he a trapped beast or a cunning mastermind? Petrov, haunted by the beautiful stranger's serene face, knows time is running out. The cigarette butt from her crime scene, a Western brand, still nags at him. Does it tie to Mansur's cosmopolitan tastes or another player? The team digs into Zavadsky's network, uncovering a web of enforcers, pimps, and crooked cops. Could an insider have betrayed Lenchik? The beautiful stranger's identity remains elusive, her life a shadow tied to Zavadsky's empire. Was she a lover, a witness, or a liability? Petrov orders a deeper probe into the apartment's history. Records show It was recently renovated, likely by Galina, whose curiosity proved fatal. What did she uncover? Informants whisper of Mamsurov's rackets, extortion, currency scams, and control of Moscow's sex trade, mirroring Zavadsky's empire. Was he building his own throne? The team uncovers a chilling detail. Mamsurov was seen with Zavadsky on October 6th, hours before the murders, at the Golden Ace Casino. Was he plotting even then? A dealer recalls Mamsurov's cold stare, his hand never far from his coat pocket. Was he armed or carrying a killer's resolve? As dusk blankets Moscow, SWAT teams prepare for a raid, their radios buzzing with tension. Petrov, staring at the apartment's darkened windows, feels the case's weight. The beautiful stranger's death, Zavadsky's execution, and now Galina's remains. All roads lead to this flat. What awaits behind that door? One misstep could spark a massacre, with hostages caught in the crossfire. Can Petrov's team breach the apartment before blood flows again? The city holds its breath, its pulse quickening as the night deepens. Is this the end of Mansur's reign or the start of something worse? Moscow's Shadow King, Chapter 5, The Empire's End. Can a man outrun the darkness he's become? April 6, 1995, Petrovka Street, Moscow. The city holds its breath under a sodium-lit sky. SWAT teams encircle apartment 36, their silhouette stark against the crumbling Soviet-era building. Radios crackling with tension. Inside, Sergey Mamsurov, Mansur, grips a pistol, his hostages trembling in the shadows. Will he fulfill his vow to die fighting? Lead investigator Viktor Petrov, stationed in a command van, feels the weight of 6 months chasing this phantom. The double murder of Leonid Zavadsky and the beautiful stranger, followed by whispers of more bodies, has pushed Moscow's police to the brink. Can they end this nightmare before blood flows again? The raid ignites at midnight. Flashbangs shatter the silence, their blinding bursts illuminating the stairwell as boots thunder upward. Gunfire erupts. Mansur fires wildly. A cornered animal, his shots erratic from drug-fueled paranoia. Is he a trapped beast or still a mastermind? SWAT overwhelms him in seconds, his body collapsing under a hail of bullets, his empire reduced to ash. What secrets died with him? Petrov enters the apartment, his flashlight cutting through the gloom. The scene is a chamber of horrors. Bloodstains streak the walls. Restraints dangle in corners. A fireplace reeks of charred flesh. Hostages, including women, are freed, their eyes hollow with trauma. How many others never escaped? Petrov's team combs the flat, finding traces of Galina, the architect whose dismembered remains were dumped in an alley. Was she just one of many? Over 2 years, investigators reconstruct the truth, piecing together a saga of betrayal and ambition. Mamsurov killed Zavadsky in a calculated strike, shooting him in the back after a final meeting, likely sparked by Zavadsky's suspicions of disloyalty. What pushed him to betray his mentor? The beautiful stranger, Zavadsky's lover, was executed to silence her. Her death a chilling footnote. Did she know too much or was she mere collateral? Galina met a similar fate, her curiosity fatal after glimpsing Mansur's operations. How deep did his savagery run? Mamsurov's descent began in the late 1980s, when perestroika's chaos seduced a brilliant student. Meeting Zavadsky and boxer Oleg Karatayev, he traded MSU's lecture halls for the underworld's allure. What snapped inside him? Their Cosmos firm, a front for reselling outdated computers, netted millions. But Mamsurov's security agency turned their empire into a racket machine. Did power corrupt him, or was he always a predator? Informants reveal his drug addiction, cocaine, by 1995, spiraled, fueling paranoia that turned allies into enemies. Could he have turned back? Petrov, sifting through evidence, finds a notebook in the apartment, its pages scrawled with manic notes, names, debts, threats. Was this Mansur's blueprint for power or his unraveling? The investigation uncovers the final pieces. Mamsurov's betrayal was rooted in ambition. He wanted Zavadsky's throne. Did he dream of ruling Moscow's shadows? Witnesses confirm he controlled parts of the sex trade after Zavadsky's death, but his paranoia alienated his crew. Was he his own worst enemy? The apartment's owner, Tatiana Lyubimova, remains a ghost, likely a front for Mansur's operation. Who shielded him? Petrov's team finds no trace of her, only rumors of a woman seen with Mansur weeks before the raid. Was she another victim or a silent partner? Moscow exhales as Mansur falls, but the scars linger. The beautiful stranger's image haunts headlines, her serene face a ghost of a city's lost soul. What does it take to kill a king? For Mamsurov, it was greed, betrayal, and a bullet. But who paid the true price? Petrov, filing the case's final report, feels no victory. The 1990s chaos birthed monsters, and Mansur was just one. How many more lurk in the shadows? The cigarette butt from the beautiful stranger's crime scene, a Western brand, remains a loose end, its owner unknown. Is there another killer out there? The precinct grows quiet, but Moscow's pulse quickens. Zavadsky's empire is dust, but the underworld never sleeps. Who's next to claim the throne? Petrov stubs out his cigarette, staring at the city's neon skyline. The beautiful stranger's death opened this saga, and Mansur's closed it, but the shadows whisper on. What secrets remain buried in Moscow's heart?
Don't scroll past. Hit like and subscribe if you're ready for the next twisted story.